The meeting will come to order. Township of Parsippany Troy Hills, Township Council agenda meeting of August 2nd, 2016.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Law by filing the notice in the office of the Township Clerk and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin board at the Municipal Building on December 17, 2015, where it has remained posted since that date. A legal notice appeared in the Daily Record on December 22nd, 2015, and the Newark Star Ledger on December 24, 2015, and it was forwarded by fax to other local newspapers and local radio stations on December 17, 2015. Council meetings are videotaped and aired on Cablevision Public Access Channel 21 at 11 o'clock a.m. on Sundays and are also available for viewing at www.parsippany.net.
We could all stand for the flag salute. Mr. Creepy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Here.
Mr. DePiero?
Here.
Ms. Grignani?
Present.
Mr. Peluso?
Present.
Mr. Valori?
Here.
Also in attendance are Mayor James Barbario, Business Administrator Alan Sandman, the Township Attorney Justin Marquetta, the CFO Ann Cucci, and the Township Clerk Colette Madden. Mr. President, we have a quorum. You may begin.
Thank you. The upcoming meetings will be August 16th at 7:30. That will be our regular meeting. The following will be the September 6th. That will be at 7:30, and that will be our agenda meeting. Approval of minutes will be the council regular minutes for July 19, 2016. For your information, we have a request to endorse and support the passage of Assembly Bill number 3686. You want to discuss that?
Sure, Council President. What this is about is the Township of Hanover had passed a resolution basically in support of this Assembly number, which is coming in from the House. And basically what this bill does is it designates a law called Ralph and David's Law, which establishes the crime of strict liability vehicular homicide as a third-degree crime. And this way, if anybody that's what the defendant will be charged. Currently, our laws are less stringent. So this was just something placed on the agenda for the board to consider. And if you guys are in favor of that, at some point later in time, we can have a resolution that would be in support of the passage of this Assembly number.
Okay, that would be great.
Okay.
Any council members have any questions or concerns?
So just by taking just a quick show of hands, you guys would all be in favor of something like this, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So we'll draft something that would be put on the agenda for the next upcoming meeting. I'll speak with the Township Attorney.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, for presentations, we have one of our Morris County freeholders, Hank Lyons, and he stated that he's going to be very sure with this and precise. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Council President, and thank you, Council and Mayor, for having me here tonight. This is a continuation of efforts by the Freeholder Board to reach out to our municipalities to have these discussions and present our budget. We've been doing it for a number of years now, so I'm glad to be back, and I can't get this to go up. Oh well. So I will jump right into it. And for the members of the public, I do have extra copies of the presentation up here if you'd like to follow along. So the 2016 budget, jumping right into it. Our budgetary goals for the Freeholder Board, as always, we want to develop, adopt, and manage an annual county operating budget that remains financially and operationally efficient. We want to spend tax dollars as efficiently as possible. We want to continue to maintain all public safety initiatives. We, the Freeholder Board, believe that public safety is the cornerstone of good government, most important function that we do. We want to keep that going strong. We wanted to sustain all human service programs, ensure the maintenance of all critical county-wide infrastructure. Our roads and bridges are vital. It is more challenging with the problems with the Transportation Trust Fund, but we continue to maintain that infrastructure. We want to continue to protect the county's AAA bond rating. We've had that for decades, and we'd like to keep that for decades to come. We want to preserve the prudent and methodical use of our fund balance. The development process. The Budget Committee meets on a regular basis with all of our department heads to do a detailed and thorough review of their budgets, analyzing expense and revenue opportunities. We want to see if there are opportunities to save money or bring in more revenue for taxpayers. We look both at this year's budget but also future year's budget. It's one thing to have a good budget in one year, but if it comes at the expense of future years, that's not so great. And we also take time every year to look at our areas of risk so we can see what's coming forward and prepare for it sooner rather than later. 2016 versus 2015, we have an $11.3 million increase in our operating budget. You'll see increases, major increases below. If you were to add those up, they will not equal $11.3 million. The primary difference is that the state, we act as a medium, a pass-through entity for a lot of state funds. And so as those monies from the state, these various grants change, it can impact our budget. So for instance, in my first year on the budget committee, I think it was 2013, the state grants actually declined $6 million, and then the following year they went up $6 million. So that can have a rather volatile swing. Okay. So the difference is really that. But the increases that hit Morris County taxpayers are $6.35 million increase in health insurance, which I'll talk about more in just a slide or two. A $1.75 million increase in salary adjustments. That's our negotiated increases to all of our different bargaining units. We have 22 at the county. We have been negotiating at 2% increases per year. We've been going up to 2.16% increases if the bargaining units give up lifetime health benefits for prospective new employees. We have a $1.2 million increase for state human service and mental health needs, an $820,000 increase for the provision of various human service programs. That's primarily the Office of Temporary Assistance. And we have a $240,000 increase in pensions. Our budget highlights. This does continue to maintain all county services in the midst of difficult economic times. It continues to provide shared services that we offer the towns and other counties in New Jersey. We deliver critical services for those in need of emergency assistance. We support the various unique assets in Morris County, like the County College of Morris, the School of Technology, our largest in the state park system at 18,900 acres. We have historical and heritage associations. We manage water, aquifers, sanitation facilities like the solid waste management facility and the recycling facility. This budget contains funding for all of these different areas. The budget highlight. While the 2016 total composite tax effort is up 2.39%, the overall 4-year from 2012 to 16 composite tax effort is up 1/2 of 1%, 0.5%. So the way you read this chart is in 2013, our total tax effort declined 1.72%. In 2014, it declined an additional 0.54%. 2015, it was held flat at 0. And this year, it's up 2.39%. So if you add all of those up, it comes up to a 0.5% increase over 4 years. And again, the most significant aspect in the increase that led to this year's tax increase was an 18.9% increase in our health insurance costs. We actually went out to RFP and switched brokers from Blue Cross to Cigna we are now with, because Blue Cross, the increase would have been about 24%. So we went through the entire process. It was a major undertaking to switch carriers. The next page is just a chart of introduced budget numbers with total tax effort numbers going from 2012 to 16. And then following that, we have a pie chart of county spending. And what I really like to see here is that public safety and health and human services, between those two core areas, they take up nearly 50% of our overall budget. Ongoing investments in education and recreation. We have $11.8 million invested in the County College of Morris. An interesting statistic that I like to cite is that over 50% of nurses working in Morris County graduated from the County College of Morris's nursing program.
Great program.
Absolutely.
Great program.
We have a $6.2 million investment in the School of Technology and a $13.7 million investment in the Morris County Park Commission. Continuation of services, we provide over 500,000 meals through our nutrition program with both home-delivered meals and the 15 nutrition sites spread throughout the county. Morrisview Healthcare Center will remain home to 283 individuals. And I'd actually like to pause there in the presentation for just a moment. On Morrisview, you may be aware over the last 4, 5, 6 years, the County Freeholder Board have really been analyzing Morrisview. Throughout the state, many counties have sold their nursing homes. And the reason is because with changes at both the federal and state level with funding, counties have been losing substantial amounts of money. So in 2015, our total tax effort to support Morrisview was about $6 million. This year, it's about $9 million, and it's going to be about $15.5 million by 2020. So we're faced with daunting increases there. And so over the past couple of years, in 2013, we formed the Morrisview Advisory Committee, which is made up of family members of loved ones in that facility, freeholders. I've been on it, and along with Kathy DiFilippo, my colleague, the entire time, staff, and a few outside professionals. We've been working with them, really growing relationships with the family. And in the past year or so, we've been commissioning various reports. At the receipt of one of those reports earlier this year, the Freeholder Board unanimously passed a resolution that we did not want to sell Morrisview, but we wanted to continue to look at ways to save money for taxpayers. And so right now, Where this is taking us at the moment, though no final decisions have been made, is to bring in an outside operator in a public-private partnership for them to manage the facility on a day-to-day basis, have them take on the financial liability, while we would maintain ownership, formal ownership of the facility, so that way we can provide governance. We've, again, been working extraordinarily closely with family groups. I'm happy with the way that process has gone to date. They are supportive of our actions, with the major caveat of the final product with any operator would obviously have to have insufficient safeguards that everybody, from freeholders to family members to residents, would feel comfortable with it. But right now we are working collaboratively with it. It is going in a positive direction, but more work still does need to be seen. But that work will take place probably over the course of the remainder of 2016. So if anybody has any concerns, comments, questions,
I have a question
yes, sir.
on that, if I may.
Absolutely.
You're in essence kind of privatizing that. You didn't use that word, but that's what you're really doing.
I would say it's a partial privatization, yes.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Okay. How can some privatized company, with the losses you project in Medicaid,
Yes.
how can they make ends meet when you can't?
So I think it's a number of factors. That is a concern overall that I think we would lay out, which is why we haven't made a final decision. But in terms of where they can operate more efficiently than we can, first, just in terms of public versus private employee structures, we have 14 holidays in a given year. Private entities aren't going to have 14 holidays. Ultimately, our fringe benefits for our employees is about 65% of salary. A private entity would come in and try to reduce that down to, in the 30% range, let's say. So I think that would be one area they would look to save. Two would be, we have a lot of outside contracted services that the Freeholder Board has embarked upon over the last 4 or 5 years, many of them before me. Things like nutrition, housekeeping, laundry services, things of that nature. A lot of these organizations that are in the nursing home business, they will bring those back in rather than outsourcing them out. They bring that back in so that they can achieve that profit. And they have the economies of scale, since they will be providing laundry for 10 different nursing homes, to provide it more efficiently. So we've heard that that's a area of bringing in revenue. And then just in terms of, obviously the county doesn't, our staff will, not regularly, but periodically remind us that we are not professionals at running nursing homes. We don't know the best way to run nursing homes to the extent that the private sector does. So there are a number of ways that they could save money. But that is absolutely one of our concerns, is how can you go from losing $15 million to turning a profit without having substantial reductions in care.
The numbers don't sound right.
So that is something that the freeholders have been asking about, and we are going to want more proof.
Okay.
And the family members also. I mean, that is one of the first things that they will ask.
Because you don't want them to cut corners to make ends meet.
But I mean, for instance, there are various things that we could do, knowing that we're going to lose 15.
I mean, in services, you don't want them to cut corners in services.
Well, so there are different things that the county has looked at. For instance, if those concerns end up being insurmountable, we could come in and say, hey, we want to partner with somebody. We'll guarantee you X amount of dollars in direct contribution from the county, but it'll kind of cap it so that they can get there. So there are different ways that we could make up differences, but absolutely that's a concern that we have. Staff understands that. The family members, believe me, they're attending all of our meetings, heavily involved. I practically meet with them more than anybody else out there right now. So those are the questions that are being asked.
Thank you.
Yes. And then we continue to provide a number of other human service and social service programs beyond Morrisview. Public safety, we offer, or we provide a whole wide range of public safety functions. And you can look at that over at your leisure. But I will highlight down at the bottom, just as I had mentioned, shared services. The Juvenile Detention Center and Youth Shelter and the Medical Examiner's Office are all shared services where the county provides the service, but we also provide it to other counties in the state.
Good.
In terms of debt management, the 2016 capital budget authorizes $26.1 million to be reduced by $1.5 million for Chapter 12 aid from the state. That's for the County College of Morris, in debt for various capital projects. We continue an emphasis on roads and bridges. This year on roads, we're spending $7.6 million for 22 miles of roads. You can see that that's a substantial increase from, let's say, 2013, when it was only $2.2 million. We also have a $3.3 million investment in bridges, which is right in line with where we've been going back to 2013. a $3.7 million investment in educational facilities, a $1 million investment in criminal justice reform after the passage of the constitutional amendment by the voters of New Jersey. Beyond Morrisview, this is probably the second biggest initiative that we're undertaking and watching. It's going to have a major impact on the county and I think also on municipalities. Our overall debt is in line at $26.1 million, in line with where we've been from 2012 to 15. You see it's substantially reduced from 2012, and that reduction since then has actually been allowing us to pay down about $10 million a year in debt, and with its $26.1 million, we should continue to be able to pay down $10 million this year in debt. Continuing on with structural balance, we have our balance is maintained through the long-standing AAA bond rating, continued conservative budgeting practices, and what I really mean there is if we're projecting a certain amount of money in revenues, make sure we actually achieve that. Don't put too rosy of a picture out there and then have a deficit at the end of the year. Continued oversight by the governing body as a whole, and in particular by the budget subcommittee having our weekly meetings. And continued advanced planning and preparation for the future reductions in managed Medicaid revenues. And what we mean there is specifically Morrisview, knowing that what's coming down the pike, trying to plan as well as we can for that. Structural balance continued in terms of fund balance. We ended 2015 with $53 million in fund balance. That's near an all-time high, and we're pleased with where we are with $53 million, and we project 2016 should end up between $50 and $55 million. Our CFO really thinks we're going to come in very close to the $53 million, so it'll basically be flat from year to year, which we feel very happy about. Strategic planning continued. A number of different risks that we've identified. Morrisview that we just talked about. Potential increases in health insurance and pension costs. We just saw a huge increase in health insurance. We don't anticipate it to be as large in this upcoming year, but it's still always a risk. The impact of criminal justice reform and speedy trial. The county guarantee for debt service for the Solar 1 and Solar 2 program. That's something that's been a major difficulty over the last few years. We've been working very hard to minimize any risk to taxpayers, and I'm happy to say that over the past 8, 9, 10 months, positive developments have come there. It seems that we're doing better than it could have been. And we also want to have a better understanding of overall economic trends in the county to decide where county resources should go. And for instance, with demographics, 2 demographic changes that are really occurring in Morris County that I think the county wants to consider when formulating budgets. One, we have a net migration of people out of Morris County right now. It's happening in New Jersey as a whole, but it's also here in Morris County. More people are moving out than moving in. That's a concern. And then the second one is we have a significantly aging population. If you chart the average age for Morris County over the last 10 years or so, it's been going up substantially. And naturally, as time goes along, that should impact where we spend county resources on our spending. So we're trying to look at that and get a better feel for that when crafting budgets. So in summary and in perspective, the aggregate 2012 to 16 combined tax effort represents a 0.5% increase, while the 2006 operating tax effort will increase 3.43%. The reduction in the open space tax and an increase in ratables has resulted in an overall 2.39% increase. We had a cut in the open space tax again this year, but we also had our first increase in ratables in many years. I think the first time for me as a freeholder. That's anything from new development to things like the St. Clair's Hospital that was sold from a nonprofit entity to a for-profit entity. It's now on the tax rolls. This increase is approximately $20 for the averaged residential value of $373,000 in the county. It allows us to continue to protect the AAA bond rating and permits the final 10 sites in the Solar 2 project to be completed. That's my presentation, unless people, the council or mayor or administration has any questions for me.
Any questions or concerns, anyone? You did a great job as usual.
Well, thank you
for being very efficient.
Yes.
And keep up the good work.
Was I under 10 minutes?
You did a phenomenal job.
Well, thank you for having me.
I don't want to embarrass you here. Aren't you going to graduate school for economics now?
I'm in public administration.
Okay. See, I just wanted to tout how good you are and just keep up the good work. You're doing a
Be
great
down
job.
there on Saturday.
Great.
Studying
Keep it up.
away. Thank you.
We're proud of you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mayor, do you have anything?
Hi, freeholder. When did you move into Parsippany?
Well, I haven't formally moved in, so I purchased my house in February. I just got access to it maybe a month and a half ago.
Okay. I didn't
And
know
I'm
if
hoping to move
everybody
in within 2 months. And then I'll be a Parsippany resident.
And more importantly, you're paying taxes, right? That's all we want.
Very good.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations, sir.
Welcome to Parsippany.
Yes. All right. We always have some fun here. Ellen, you have anything?
Yes, what I have, I don't know, can, I have this. What I would like to do is, sorry about the microphones. I know we are working on them. This evening, I would like to introduce Mike Armstrong from Community Hope. He has a presentation that he would like to present before the mayor and council. I suggested that this would be the best forum to him to come before. As you know, we've worked with various entities throughout our community in Parsippany, and they are the folks that help provide housing and services to those people that need some special attention. So he's got to come before us. He is part of our spending plan. It's going to be something similar to what we did with what is it, Bridge? Newbridge. And I'm going to turn it right over to you, and if you could just do the highlights.
All right, good. Well, thank you, Ms. Sandman and Mayor Barbero and the rest of the council. You know, you've been very generous to us with the money to provide the purchase and the renovation of a home for 5 disabled individuals. But it was an older home, and when we started getting into the walls and things, we found that there was a lot of creative wiring and plumbing and a lot of termites and a lot of things that we hadn't anticipated. A fire suppression system, something else that we hadn't anticipated. So we're requesting another $125,000 to finish the job. Again, it's wiring, plumbing. We had to take down the chimney. We had to add a fire suppression system. We had to do some work with all of the walkways and the entrances. So it was just a lot of work, and as I say, a lot of things that we didn't anticipate. Like any old home, as I say, you get in the walls and you find a lot of things you never expected. So
I would like to just add is that, you know, the council and the mayor, but the council in particular being the purse strings, I can assure them, and we've verified this with our CFO, that there is funding available that we have collected over the years in the council on, you know, the affordable housing funding, and it would not it would be doing the right thing, because we've already what's the amount of money that we've already what has Parsippany already given to the project?
Yeah, $600,000.
$600,000. So without this additional funding, you're in dire straits. And
Right.
I would like you to just add, I know there's it's not that you're asking for the full amount that you need. This was a number that when I met with you and Mr. Collins, Mayor Collins, that he was also saying that your organization was going to put as much funding as they could, but this is where they needed the help and they wanted it to be a safe project. So I will do the numbers, show the numbers to the council. I don't know if you brought any worksheets with you.
I did not. I
Okay.
wasn't sure what I needed to bring.
Okay.
So I can certainly supply those.
Yeah.
And get you
There'll be another meeting on the 15th, so prior to that, you don't need to come out, but what I'll do is I'll make sure that we make sure that they get the full details as to what you're requesting and why the need, in addition to what you've just already said.
Very good.
And if you have any questions.
Where's the house?
It's at 639 Tabor Road. It was a...
And it has been part of our spending plan. It has been part of our COA obligation. And as I just might reiterate, we received, with all those COA numbers,
Yes.
by continuing to do this. When I first came a couple of years ago, all the entities we hadn't fulfilled everything, and we actually now have finalized on a couple of them, built and funded it, and that was very instrumental in getting some good reviews. I'll ask our attorney, positively say, I know you're not as actively involved as much as, John or others, but that it was very instrumental in lowering our number, because the percentage of what we get for investing in the community of need, it's a tremendous a reduction in our number of COA obligation.
Exactly.
And, you had a question? Yeah.
I don't know if this is the right time to actually ask this question or not, because I know, and I don't know if it's the same organization that did a house in Glacier Hills, but I know that there's and this is on Tabor Road, so this is on a main road, parking issues with the employees. I know this particular house in Glacier Hills, there was no additional, the driveway, it's a single car driveway. So all of the employees actually park on the street, and there's not even like like a dirt area that you can pull off the street. So I don't know if that's something to be brought up now, but with the 639 Tabor Road, that's going to be.
I can answer that very simply. Number one, we won't have staff there. This is for individuals who be independently living, and it was formerly a chiropractor's office, so there is parking for probably 6 to 8 vehicles there in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So parking is not an issue.
Okay.
How many I was just going to say that is an important question. That he can answer that now. So,
How many clients do you?
5.
5?
Yes.
And the initial investment for $600,000, what was that exactly for?
But that was for the acquisition, which turned out to be about $435,000, and then the rest went to the renovations that we've done.
You thought it was going to cover. So can you give us also the numbers of all the other monies that were invested in that too?
Well, we've invested, I think, around $50,000, and we've got money from one of the local banks, and now I'm drawing a blank on that.
Okay.
I think it's about 25.
that will all be broken out in the
Yeah, if you
spreadsheet.
could-
We'll get,
yeah, if you
we're
could
going to
send
give
a
you all the
spreadsheet.
details.
Yeah.
Great.
As I said,
Thank
I
you.
think Mike wasn't sure, and he didn't want to disappoint us, so they were really on for next week, next council meeting. But I'm glad, that you wetted your whistle.
You're bringing us to our attention.
Yeah, as I said, we have all of that. I just didn't bring it tonight, but we've got it readily available.
Just so we're
And
transparent
you'll,
with the public.
yes,
Oh, sure,
and you'll have it,
absolutely.
Okay.
and you'll have it prior to. We'll have it prior to before the
We'll have
next
it in the
council
next
meeting.
couple of days.
Great, thank you, sir.
Okay,
Any other
thank
questions?
What's the maximum capacity of the house as well? And you said 5 is going to be.
That's it. It's going to be 2 2-bedroom units and a single 1-bedroom unit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are any of those people that are living there veterans or?
Possibly. It could be. We're not sure yet what it's going to be. But over half the work that we do is with veterans. We have a large veteran services. We provide services to veterans in 13 counties in New Jersey and 8 counties in Pennsylvania. So we do a lot of work with
And
veterans.
do you give preferential application status to a veteran if they're applying for the home at the same time?
Well, it's low income, so I don't know that we can put preference on it. I mean, we'd certainly be, we have to decide exactly who's going to be in there, and then we can decide what we have to do preferentially.
Okay. Thank you. I look forward to the report. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Thank
If you'd
you.
like to come out and take a look at it, we'll have an open house, as soon as we get it finished, and we would certainly will send an invitation to the council and to the mayor and Ms. Sandman. So,
On it.
again,
We
thank
look
you very
forward
much.
to it. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
Excuse me, Alan, do you know what our balance is for affordable housing right now? How much we have in funds left in that account?
I didn't bring that this evening because I thought he was coming next week.
Okay. Yeah, we can get that information as well. That'd be great. Thank you very much.
Next meeting.
Good.
Thanks.
So you have a comfort level in partaking.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
That's filling the need there too. All right. Our township attorney, any words of wisdom?
No report tonight, Council President.
Thank you, sir. And congratulations on your newborn
Thank you. Thank you very much. A girl.
Congratulations.
baby girl.
Girl born on the 26th.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. Actually looks like me this time. Full head of dark hair.
And what's her name?
Mary Grace.
Beautiful name. I had to put you on the spot here, see?
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Ann, our CFO? Okay, great. Our township clerk?
No report at this time, thank you.
Outstanding. Any committee reports from our council members?
Just a comment.
Okay, Mike?
At our next meeting, Crestman Farms will be making a presentation.
Okay. And what's that going to be on, Mike?
Crestman Farms.
About anything in particular with Craft Farms?
As always, it's always funding.
Probably.
Most of the presentations are.
I was to say, is this good news or bad news?
No, it's actually very good news. It's
Okay.
it's a wonderful thing that happened how many years ago?
I was trying to be diplomatic about this.
Well, I went right for the, But the
Okay.
thing is,
All
it's
right.
it's one of your prime jewels. I mean, Mike, how many? 25 years, right? We just celebrated that anniversary. That you and
30 years.
30 years. Okay, I'm sorry. The time flies. I
They'll
thought
be having a
that's what it
gala.
was. 30 years when we had that.
They're gonna be having a gala.
At Craftsman Farms. That thing was 30 years. I didn't realize. But anyway, it's about certain buildings and working on it. One of the things I also did when I first came here, I did take a look at what you had already given to Craftsman's Farms as far as costs and dollars, and what commitment they made to us was, I said, before you come out for some new funding, finalize what you've already been given and put that into play. So they're going to do 2 reports. One will be a report of somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000 that you've already given over the past couple of years and where those funds have been applied to, and secondly, what they're looking to do in the future.
Okay, great.
One of
Thank
the
you, Mike.
things you should keep in mind when we deal with Craftsman Farms is that's a township facility. We own it.
Yes,
So when we give them money to maintain something,
it's ours.
it's ours.
Absolutely, yes.
You know?
I understand.
It's not donation to something that somebody
And that's a
else.
great point, because a lot
It's
of the public
ours.
doesn't understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. Thank you. Anything else, Mike?
No, that's it.
Thank you, sir. Engineering report?
None.
None? Okay. Bids to be taken, July 29th. Improvements to North Beverwick Road. To be taken, August 10th. Road reconstruction for Fox Hill Road. Quotations, proposal, qualifications, none. We're going to go to the public hearing portion. I'd like to entertain a motion to open up the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Paluso, second by Mr. Karifi. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Floor is open.
Great. If there's anybody from the public that would like to come forward, you have 5 minutes. If you could just sign in and please state your name. Thank you, sir.
My name is Raymond Gallup. I'm a resident of Lake Hiawatha, and I'm a retiree and a veteran.
Okay, great. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
I'm here tonight to propose to bring forward a resolution on refugees from terrorist nations that I would like the town to consider naturally after they put it before the attorney to make sure that we don't that it's publicly announced that Parsippany won't accept refugees from terrorist nations to provide safety and security to the residents here. And there's also an article that refugees are secretly flooding into these states, and it shows New Jersey and several cities in New Jersey that are being affected currently. So I just wanted to put this proposal forward, 6 copies and 6 articles for your consideration, and I would gather that the next meeting you might decide one way or the other.
Yeah, if you could give that paperwork to the
Town
clerk, and then
okay.
we'll have our township attorney review that, and we'll provide you with what we can do legally and not. So
Sure.
we'll let him review it.
Thank you.
Any other question, concerns, sir?
Nope, that's
Okay,
it.
thank you. If you give that to the clerk, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Good evening. Ken Dolsky, 21 Winfield Drive. First, I'd like to thank you in advance for signing the retainer and the resolution that will fund Parsippany as part of the municipal pipeline group. That is going to happen, right? So, long time coming. But thank you very much for doing that. And I think that'll make 15 towns, and then they can get going on their set of projects. I'd like to bring you up to date on status of a couple of things regarding what's going on with this pipeline.
Okay.
Because it's been very quiet. So, they filed in New York last Thanksgiving, and there's been nothing in New Jersey. We expect them to file before the end of the year. The DEP has said they haven't heard anything from them, so that they don't think that they're ready to file soon, because there'd be some preliminary communications. But nevertheless, they haven't given up, and we expect them to file. So, anticipating that, under the guidance of the Sierra Club, we have hired Princeton Hydro, an environmental engineering firm, to conduct an independent environmental study. And the purpose is as follows. First of all, whether you know it or not, the DEP, I guess under the guise of budget cutting, is no longer able to do its own thorough environmental analysis when companies or others come to them and ask for permits. DEP gets 90 days in which to approve certain permits, and they don't have the resources or manpower to do their own study, so they have to depend on the information that's presented to them by developers. So you can understand where that goes generally. We are not going to sit back and let that happen. So this firm, Princeton Hydro, is going to, we're going to provide them with a lot of information, and what they're going to do is make sure that all the environmental information that's needed to make sure the DEP knows everything that could possibly happen with this pipeline is going to be presented to them. And the second thing is that Princeton Hydro was very, very, very familiar with the processes and what the DEP actually has to go through and all the laws and regulations the DEP has to follow. And they're going to make sure that we hold the DEP's feet to the fire and make sure that they follow the procedures that they're supposed to, which hasn't always happened. And if somebody doesn't know that the DEP isn't doing its job properly, then there's no recourse, nothing happens. So those are the two reasons for hiring this firm. And the other thing that we're going to do eventually, we think, is hire an attorney to work with Princeton Hydro and make sure that the information that's being collected is prepared and presented to the DEP in a way that would support a future lawsuit. Because we pretty much believe that what's going to come out of this DEP review, one way or the other, is going to be a lawsuit. Either we're going to look at what the DEP did and we're going to say you didn't follow the rules or you ignored environmental information, and we're going to sue the DEP. And by I say we, I mean the Coalition Against the Pilgrim Pipeline, along with Sierra Club, or Pilgrim Pipeline is going to have its permits rejected, and they're going to sue. So one way or the other, we think there's going to be a lawsuit. And what we're hoping is that by doing this process correctly, the DEP could either reject the request for a 401c water quality permit, which has killed other pipelines in the area, or will force Pilgrim Pipeline into an alternate route or some kind of remediation that would be untenable for them. That would make it very, very difficult, if not impossible, for them to build this. So that's one option, and then the next, like I said, is a lawsuit down the road. Good news is that the coalition has gathered. We have funded this ourselves. So we have gone out to our friends and members of the coalition, and we have enough money to support doing this environmental study. Not the lawsuit yet, but we can do the environmental study. As part of the study, we're going to come to every town. You're going to be getting a letter from me, as well as the town planner and the Environmental Commission, to look for information on wetlands, threatened and endangered species, stream locations, water quality, and historical sites. We just want inventory information. Any guidance you can give me on who to work with to best collect that information would be appreciated. And we're also going to have you later on over the summer, we're going to give you a letter that, in anticipation of the filing, asking you to ask the DEP to make sure that they have a lot of public hearings on this. So that's where we are. If anybody has any questions.
Yeah, I have a question.
Thank you.
Wouldn't it be wiser to wait until you have some idea where they want to run the line before you do environmental studies?
Well,
I mean, all these towns are huge, and you're going to get a general broad brush this way. But if you wait until they have some kind of a proposed plan, then you could narrow it down to that area and be more.
Yeah. So one, they have given us preliminary routes, and we know that the PSE&G area, although PSE&G has said no, but that's still their primary route. They've made some changes in the Highlands area, potential changes, and I think they're going to go over. I think we saw a map that said they might go around Troy Meadows, but for 80%, 90% of it, we haven't seen any change in their map. So what we're going to do is collect the information from the towns, like in a broad base, and then when we learn where the pipeline is actually going to go, Princeton Hydro will use the information that we've gathered, and they will look at specifically the areas around whatever the final pipeline route is. If we wait, we're in danger, because there's a 90-day window on all this stuff, we're in danger of not gathering this information in a timely fashion. But I agree with you. There could be some wasted effort because we don't know everything that we would like to know right up front. But that's what we're thinking.
Good point. Yeah. Any other questions, concerns?
Len, I just want to say that with the municipal group, they did ask for an environmental impact study already, in which our environmental committee worked with the township in order to provide them. So we should get you a copy of that as well.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't know what the MPG took and what they did with it.
Okay.
There's been a little confusion around that, but you know, we're directly working with Princeton Hydro. We know what they want. They made that presentation in Montville last month. It's on our website if anybody wants to watch it and see what they're actually doing. And we're going to make sure that they have all this information.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public like to come forward?
Hi, Katie Cassidy, 7 Stephen Terrace. So I just I wanted to reiterate a little bit what Ken said with the importance of this. It sounds to me like the DEP is not really equipped to do their job at this point. And to what I understand, you're not asking for any money on this? You've got it all covered for this study. It sounds like a fact-finding mission before determining whether or not, you know, how we feel about it makes perfect sense. And if the DEP can't do it, and we have a third party here who's interested in doing it and willing to do it on their own dime, I think that supporting them and backing them on a fact-finding mission is a great idea. I have seen the proposed routes, at least one of them, where they were going directly through Troy Meadows. They have some idea of where it's going, and the theory that they have is they can only really make it come through Parsippany. So I think that it's important for us to support anybody who's willing to look into this, especially when we know that, you know, the state level, they literally can't. It's unfortunate that, you know, we can't pick up our own slack, but I just think that it's a fact-finding mission that is crucial to understanding the potential hazards in this area, and I think supporting it is a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the audience like to come forward? I see that nobody else wants to come forward. I'd like to entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Carriffy, second by Mr. Peluso. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Peluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Floor is closed.
Thank you. Ordinances, status of adopted ordinances. You can take a few moments to read over it.
Just to save paper,
Yes, Mike.
why don't we put this back into the block form that we used to have? You know, you got 2 whole pages. We used to do this in one little block.
I'll have to look into that. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll look into it.
Adopted mayoral action effective date. All of that could be in a spreadsheet, and very compact.
Well, and still present it to the public, you mean? Or just for you? Because the only reason that this is on here is so that the public has an idea.
Oh, the description of it?
Yeah.
More transparent.
Yeah, so they
That's
can
why.
see it. It's a little bit more easier to follow. But I see your point. Yeah, great. You're absolutely right. I know. To be a little bit more efficient.
But I will look into that, Mike, and I'll touch base with you.
Because these ordinances were already discussed and explained and adopted.
Correct.
So all
Yes.
you're doing here is repeating what we already did.
That's why I'm not reading over. I just say take a few minutes to read over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good point, Mike. All right. All right. We're going to go to the second readings and public hearing. If you could take a moment to read over those 3 ordinances there. 2016, 20, 21, and 22. Okay, for the non-consent agenda, the resolutions, Mr. Peluso?
We have Resolution 2016-142, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany Troy Hills, authorizing the mayor to execute a legal retainer for legal environmental services related to the proposed Pilgrim Oil Pipeline project. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Paluso, second by Mr. Carriffy. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, Mr. Carriffy?
Resolution 2016-143, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany Troy Hills approving the corrective action plan for the 2015 audit. Motion made by myself.
Second, Grignani.
Motion made by Mr. Carriffy, second by Mrs. Grignani. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Loretta?
Resolution 2016-144, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany Troy Hills, Morris County, New Jersey, authorizing a professional service agreement with Princeton Hydro. Motion to approve resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Mrs. Grignani, second by Mr. Carriffy. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you. The consent agenda, the resolutions, if you could take a few moments to read over that. Any questions or concerns? I see none. Applications, and this is a nice, easy night. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Paluso, second by Mr. Carriffy. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
No, I want to stay.
That's a first.
Ms. Grignani?
So that would be a no.
Mr. Paluso? Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Okay, the
Thank you
meeting
everyone
is
for coming
adjourned.
tonight.
Have a nice evening.
Right.
Enjoy your summer so far.
Mike, you lost 4-1.
It's also a safe night right now at the Men's Arena if you want to join them.
That's 50 minutes.
Okay, you knew
If anyone wants to stay with Mr. DePiero?
Yes. That Hank Lyons guy slowed us down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.